Hi. Hi. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Finally. Yay. What do you guys do on Friday? Are you guys like me? You sit home, safe. Yeah. I get this just right. Yeah. There we go. That's better. Nice and warm. The weather is changing. It is, you guys. Earlier, I was like dressed for summer, but now I'm dressed for fall. I have an audience. I do. I got squirrel in front of me. I have him busy with food. Let's see how long that lasts. Yeah. I wanted to do story time today. You guys want to hear a story of when I was a kid? Or a few stories when I was a kid. It's good to visit our past, you guys, just to visit our history. That's what I've done. Like throughout my healing process, I've had to go back into my childhood and into some memories. Some are like horrible, but some are just like pretty normal, of kids growing up. And I cling to those, to the ones that are normal. I do. So I've got a story. I got some stories to tell. When we were kids, every summer vacation, and sometimes even Easter, because Easter, I believe we got 2 weeks off. Our parents like to go to their homeland, to Mexico, to visit. And they would take, all the kids, of course. And I remember, like, in the early years when I was like 3 or 4, no, I'm going to say 4 or 5, we had like a station wagon. And there was 10 kids, you guys. It was like the Brady Bunch, but the toxic Brady Bunch. Yeah. Hi. And so we would go in a station wagon, 23-hour drive in a station wagon, 10 of us plus two parents. Yeah. And towards the end, when I was a teenager, we had an RV, and there was only four of us kids left. Yeah, and we would spend our vacations in Mexico. My parents were from Mexico, and as I as I went through my healing process, processing these memories, I remember my dad making all these stops in all these different little towns where he had relatives, okay? And or where my mother had relatives. And it was like really important for them to show their relatives just how far they had came. Just how far they had came in life. Because at that time my dad was, well, financially, I'm going to say, comfortable. He had a gas station. We had an RV. Yeah, we lived in the suburbs. Life was good. We traveled. And, sorry, I got people looking at me. It always distracts me. So he would take us to Mexico. And like I said, by the time I was a teenager, we were well off. We were. So he'd like stop in all these little towns just to show his relatives. Look at me now, fuckers. Pretty much. Because my dad, who abused me, who was like my number one predator, has a sad, sad story himself, which is how these cycles tend to continue in families, It started somewhere, and it has to end somewhere too. And I chose to end it. And my father chose to continue it, okay? To continue the toxicity and the abuse. His story was very sad. He was orphaned when he was a small boy. left with the responsibility of taking care of his brother and his sister when he was under the age of 10. Okay. Homeless. Yeah. His father remarried and the new wife kicked them out. Yeah, that's how heartless people are. I don't get it. So he had a horrible childhood. And that was part of my healing, to see him as a victim also. Okay. Not just as the perpetrator. Yeah. Cheers. So he would take us to Mexico in this RV. And he had a brother. And that brother never married, okay? He was my Uncle George. He never married. And I never saw much of him growing up. We would visit him occasionally at his place of employment, which was a gay bar in North Hollywood. Yeah. My uncle was gay. He was another earth angel in my life, by the way. I remember him scrubbing my teeth with baking soda when I'm like 3, making sure I got every crevice. But he never married. He was gay. And I'm sure he lived a gay private lifestyle that we were not a part of at all, at all. But he liked to collect gold jewelry, my Uncle George. Yeah, he did. And this one trip we took to Mexico, he came with us. And it was one of the best trips that I remember, because he sat in the back with me. And he was just, I always felt him to be very protective of me. Unlike any other member in my family, by the way. Every other member in my family made me feel, yeah, threatened in some fucking way. But my Uncle George always came to my rescue. So in this trip, he comes to my rescue. We didn't only take him, we took a neighbor boy with us, our next door neighbor. His name was Brian. And he was like 11. I think he was my age. I was 11. And I had a huge crush on that little fucker. Yeah. And he was just a boy, you know? A stinky old boy. And he picked a fight with me on this trip. And he ended up smashing a banana all over me. And my uncle caught him and grabbed him by the neck. His parents are nowhere to be found because we're in another country. They let him come with us. And my uncle grabs him by the neck and says, "Don't you ever touch her again. And don't you ever hit a girl again." And then he released his neck and went whack and smacked him on the head. Boom. Get the fuck out of here. And the kid, we're in Mexico, in this little town, this poor little humble town. And he runs away and we can't find him. What are we going to tell his fucking parents? He runs away because my uncle smacked him. But he deserved it. He did. So now we spend the rest of the day hunting him down in this little humble little town. It was the town where I was born, actually. It's called Tuxpan. And it's full of mango groves, you guys. Mangoes, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful mangoes. So we're walking through the streets calling out his name, "Brian! Brian!" And it gets dark and there's no Brian and we are panicking. And we're still looking and we finally find him. He's up a mango tree in a mango grove, hiding from us, getting bitten alive by the mosquitoes. Because once it's dusk, the mosquitoes come out and they just ravage you. It's real tropical. So anyway, that was a memory I have of my Uncle George. I was thinking about him today because he's the only one who's ever stood up for me. Like if my father would have witnessed that, he wouldn't have done shit. Or my brothers, nah. They wouldn't have protected me. But my uncle did. He was a sweetheart. He passed away right when I found out about my family's betrayal. I was actually on my way to his funeral when I started like putting this puzzle together that my family had reunited with my father, and that my mother had actually, like, I think she remarried him, or, respoused him in some way. And I was on my way to my uncle's funeral, and I called somebody just to verify, am I right? And they said, yeah, you're right. So I didn't even make it to his funeral. Yeah. They ruined everything for me. My family. They did. It's okay. God repairs all. I have a squirrel in front of me. Just jumped away, but yeah. So anyway, you guys, I took a lot of those trips to Mexico, and you know what that did for me? It showed me a different way of life, okay? It showed me how to compare an American lifestyle to a third world country lifestyle, okay? It showed me how to adapt in life. So all those years that I was poor and I had to make ends meet, trying to feed my kids, I had all those experiences of these very, very humble, poor people in third world country that didn't need anything to survive but a pot of beans and a pan of rice and some hot tortillas with some cheese. Yummy. Simple life, you guys. I got a taste of that life when I went on vacation. And then later when I moved over there as a teenager, I was 17. I lived there from 17, I'm going to say till I was 23 maybe. Long time. So then you come back here, and all of a sudden you're in survival mode. Here, the United States. Yeah, I had to go to work. I couldn't stay home and raise my babies. My poor babies had to go to daycare after school. It sucked. And had I stayed in a third world country in Mexico, I would have been able to stay home. Because all you need is a little roof over your head and some beans and rice. But here we get tricked into buying the costumes for Halloween. And it's Valentine's Day. We got to go get the Valentine's Day cards for the kids. And they got to finish this fucking project. Now we got to help them with the projects. It's just slavery, you guys. All of it. None of it benefits us. None of it. I think about how poor I was and how I had to make it work. And you know how it made my children feel that I couldn't afford the same luxuries that their cousins had? Can you imagine how horrible it made them feel? Why? Because of peer pressure. I wish now that I knew then what I know now. That I could have taught my kids that those things weren't important. But instead of teaching them that, we just took on that feeling that we were less than. Less than the people that had. So anyway, that's not important. That stuff's not important. And it tricks us into living into survival mode, working 3 and 4 jobs just so you could afford, the Halloween candy and the Christmas presents. Oh my gosh. Those Christmas presents that we have to hand out everywhere. At work. To the family. And their families. And their families. Never ends, you guys. Don't participate. I'm so happy not participating in any holidays. I am. You too. You'll save a lot of money. You can buy more hats. Me? More scarves? Or more beans and rice? And how about the homeless with some burritos? Yeah. Bye, guys. Have a nice Friday. Bye. I'm gonna go eat dinner. Yummy. I'm hungry. Yeah.